like we have been doing. We take the top team from each division. So the number one team in the East and the number one team in the West. Those will be your 1 and 2 seeds, and then everybody else is seeded 3 through 8 according to their record and tiebreaker. And then we do the playoffs as a seeded playoff instead of just throw everybody in the one playoff pool and let the game decide.
Okay, so if it ends up being that the final are the top two, then it would be the top from the West versus the top from the East.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, basically nothing is changing in how we do it now. It's just we're dictating who's going to play who based upon record.
Can I just ask that and clarify that last point again? Did you say the top from the East will play the top from the West?
No. Only if the top two make it to the championship.
Yeah,
if number one and number two face each other at the end, then it would be. That's
it basically divides the number one from each side, so they can't play unless they both make it to the final.
So the intention would be for the first in the East to play the fourth in the West, or that's just a bit I'm not sure about. The seeds. Yeah, sorry, Karen.
The seedings would go 1 would play 8, 2 would play 7, 3 would play 6, 4 would play 5.
Gotcha. Yep, no problem.
And then we just, like I said, who gets there is unchanged. How they get there is unchanged. It's just instead of throwing them all in the one play or the one competition and hitting the button to see who plays who, we now seed it.
I like that.
I'll sponsor this one.
Like I said, who gets there is unchanged. How they get there is unchanged. All right, so we have a sponsor.
Yes.
All right. If somebody's talking, they're getting... Yeah, Rez, you're way too quiet.
No, I wasn't saying anything.
Oh, sorry.
It was an echo from you and Jess saying things.
Sorry.
Running like 5 seconds late.
Yeah, that might have been the Twitch.
Yeah,
live.
it's somebody's Twitch, but it's low, so it's fine. Doesn't bother me.
All right, so normal procedure, that would be considered in our next board meeting. Do we want to consider that now so it would go into effect? I'll make a motion to consider it now so we can put it into effect for Season 6.
Do we have a lot of things to talk about today?
We have 2 other things to talk about that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Seconded.
Second to discuss now, and discuss.
Okay, quick question, and this is just sounding out the boundaries around it.
Yep.
You're only literally planning on doing it on record. There would be no previous records that would factor into seedings or something. You know how some leagues do that when they seed teams. They take into account previous record.
Just the current season record. Just the current season record.
Okay.
Yep. And then we would also use the tiebreakers as normal in case places have the same record.
Gotcha.
Okay, yeah, that was the only thing that that I was wondering is just to make sure that we had our tiebreakers in order for it. Are there any concerns on your part as far as additional work for you, Preach? As long as you're okay with that, I don't see any issues.
I was concerned with it before they made the changes because you used to only be able to have 8 competitions per league. Now you can have much more. So basically,
24.
Yeah, so now, you can have up to 24. So now it used to be it was a concern that there's no way to do it because now we're going to have to do cross leagues and so on and so forth. Now with 24 competitions, it's very easy for me to set up these things, and then based upon the winner, I can set up so the winner automatically gets a ticket to the quarter and the semi. So it's maybe a half hour of my time on the front end, and then it just works automatically. They'll automatically get a ticket to the next comp and so on and so forth. So it's not that big of an overhead. I'm not concerned about that aspect.
Okay. Yeah, I have no concerns with it at that point then.
I'm good with it.
I like it.
Yeah,
Anything that works like tennis, it's a thumbs up for me.
All right, now I'm against it.
Right.
Yeah.
Are you guessing because he said tennis or because he said that he's for it?
Both.
Both.
Yeah. Anything that makes the coach of dignity unhappy makes me happy.
All right.
30 love.
Right.
Dignity? Who were they?
Yeah, I know, right? Never heard of them.
Nah, doesn't ring a bell.
Okay.
A farm team. Yeah,
So
go
I will
ahead.
make a motion to vote on this. Anybody else wants to, unless we're done with discussing? Or
Yeah, I'll
everyone?
second. I'll second. Make a vote on it.
Anybody
Let's
else
vote.
want to discuss, I should say? Once? Twice? All right. Preach versus pass. Thunden?
Pass. Sorry.
Pulse? Shots?
Pass.
Wait, what were we talking about?
Are we trying to pause?
More shots. Pass, no pass.
Pass.
Seston?
Pass.
Jest?
Pass.
Donnie?
Pass.
Hez is not here. Rez?
Pass.
And Stunt is not here. So,
Le pass.
Le Pass. Unanimous pass. And that is all for my proposals. Indoor communications. Moving straight into proposals from you guys. What do you got?
I had a proposal to adjust the marketplace and how that functions. It took the original wording of it and basically added that farm-to-farm transfers aren't allowed, and then it also adjusted the wording in the beginning of it to it basically put some teeth to if a team's found circumventing the rules, that they will be basically suspended for a season. So that if foul play is found, that the board doesn't have to try and come up with a punishment. The punishment's already in place. So that is my approach. It's the reason I'm bringing this is just simply to clean up any loopholes that could arise from farm to farm transfers, because they aren't really regulated currently in any manner.
And now we've had point of just quick clarification. Clarification. No proposal, and it is not part of this proposal to move the timing of the transfer market. We're still talking between seasons, correct?
This
Okay.
is leaving everything else strictly where it's at. The only changes are the ones that I described.
All right. So the reason I ask that is this. We're not obviously going to change anything we would decide here or not decide here is not going to change the current transfer market. The next transfer market isn't for another minimum of 10 weeks away. So we have time to instill things, although we could easily make arguments that people are going to plan for what we put forth. My question here is, I know we've had a lot of discussion about the transfer market, back and forth, and perspectives and so on and so forth. This proposal and other similar proposals, and so on and so forth. My question is, what do you guys think about discussing now, discussing later? I guess, does everybody understand the proposal that Shots is putting forward?
Wait, it needs a second before we go into, or you're saying you'd rather figure out whether we discuss it today before it gets a second?
No, I'll go ahead and second, and then
Also, yeah.
pretend I already seconded
Okay.
it, and then say that.
This is serious, Jess. I'm against discussing this, going into consideration today. Frankly, because this will have significant changes in the transfer market. Wait, hold on, let me turn this down. My girl's got have significant impact on the transfer market. I don't think, because this happened over the chat in the board lounge, I don't think the general membership is aware of it, and I'd like to get their thoughts and pull their thoughts on this as well. And frankly, there's no rush to get this done. The next transfer market is a full season away. So
You can make that
I'm
same
against
argument about the relegation bill that we passed, though, and we didn't have an issue with running. I mean, we passed that in the chat.
this one is highly contested.
Yeah.
I don't know about
And relegation. Well, see, wait. Relegation would start like you would have to go into the season knowing that relegation is going to be on the as a possibility. Like you don't
Well, if
spring
we
that on
change the
somebody
rule
once they're
towards the
into
end
the
of the
season.
season or something, it could change somebody's plans entirely for their team for season 7.
Yeah, waiting 1 week is not going to do that. And we haven't heard from any of the general membership. All we've heard from is a board that's mostly composed of at least 3 people that have already declared their love for spreading their seed across the league.
I
in the
don't
transfer market.
think
Well,
I
let's
don't
do
see
this.
how that's
Let's
a problem.
let's
so.
let's do this. Let's decide if we're going to consider it today. Well, let me ask this: does anybody make a motion to consider it today? If not, it gets put on the next board meeting
I
for
do.
consideration anyway. So Rez makes a motion. Anybody second it?
Yes.
I think we should also, just as a voice of, devil's advocate here. I think, Jesse knows that I'm in favour of it, but I think he's got a very good point here. We do need to hear and maybe sound out the general populace first about what they think about it. Does anybody not think that's a good idea?
I like that idea. I just don't understand why it's such a big deal with this proposal, because we don't do it with any other ones.
Yeah.
Because
But we're
this is
distracted.
changing the effect of the farm, and a lot of people appreciate this league because of the involvement of the farm.
I would like to state that this is only impacting farm to farm transfers. This doesn't impact any players going to, a team that's going to go to the Challenge League or the pros. They are still allowed to operate the same manner they are now. Pro transfers aren't affected in any way. This is only impacting teams that are currently trading players within the farm system to other farm teams. This isn't
Well, I would
I guess-
disagree.
I guess
I
you
would
could
disagree with that characterization of it, and this is why. And I've
Huh?
said this in the regular chat, but since this is going to be publicly aired, and I want our constituents to understand the impact of it,
Yes.
there are two major points of view on selling or transferring players that have motivated people in this league to farm and to trade these players to other people. All right, and these are the ones we've identified. There may be others that exist out there, but the two major ones that have come to light are the ones that we've heard from some of our board members. The first one is, I like farming because it's fun. I get to develop these players, and then when I build a really cool player, I really like putting this guy in the pros, giving him to somebody, and watching him go. And it's like watching my baby out there doing his thing, And so that's one viewpoint. The other viewpoint is somebody like mine, who, when I farm, I spend significant time putting my player, like developing the players, developing the teams, right? And I like to feel like it's going to benefit me at some point in the future, or else it's just a completely friendly game. I don't really get a lot of benefit. I mean, there is some benefit. I mean, it is kind of cool seeing your player do well, but I don't just, after I spend all that time and effort in farming, I don't like just giving that player away for free. Moreover, what it does is it increases, it impacts other people's games, right? Like I'm sure some of us are in fantasy football leagues. It's like somebody having two great quarterbacks. You have Cam Newton, and we'll just say Aaron Rodgers, even though that second one is disputable this year. And then you see, somebody in your fantasy football league who has Aaron Rodgers and Cam Newton, and they just trade away, or they just give away, or they drop to the transfer market Aaron Rodgers for no reason. And then you're like, wait, what the hell? That just made the guy I'm playing this week stronger. So we've talked, I think, about the concern of spreading like superstars around the league. And by doing that, by spreading the seed, you're increasing the superstar potential. Now, it doesn't bother me if the person that's giving them up is getting something back in return. And my viewpoint on the trading matter is that sometimes I will trade my player away. And I'll do it because, let's say I don't have the money this year to buy my player for my pro team, or I may have a farm team that in the future may be, something coming up. But people have asked me for my players, and I like to ask for something in return. And if I can't ask for, all right, well, you sell me your pro player, and I'll sell you my pro player, I can at least say, look, you got sell me your farm player, and I'll give you my pro player, or the opposite. In fact, I just made last season Hamshank. That's how I acquired Hamshank from Gerd for my pro team, because Gerd was interested in one of my rats, and he doesn't have a rat pro team right now, but he's got a team that in the future he might take in the CL. Or he could turn around and use him as a trade to get a better Dark Elf, right? So we executed that trade, and that's how I got Hamshank. With this new proposal, what you'd be doing is basically negatively impacting those of us who want to be able to set up trades, quid pro quo trades, to improve our farm teams for later use, or our player stock, or whatever. Of
So
course, it doesn't impact.
You're saying about not allowing star players to go around and be spread amongst the league. Yet you're talking about collating a team of star players in the farm ready to take into the Challenge League or the pros.
My
Seems
bigger
a bit
issue
contradictory.
too, though.
Wait. You're
the actual
mischaracterizing.
farm-
Wait, one at a time. the one concern at a time. You're mischaracterizing what I just said. What I said was, all right, the first one where you just give away these star players for free, that bothers somebody like me, right? Because
It's
I don't
never
see
free.
what you're
They
getting.
pay for them.
What's that?
They do pay for them.
And most teams
No,
collect
it's
their
not
money
free.
throughout the season. There's a lot of
pay
teams.
money.
We had bowl teams that were playing with 3-4 loaners because they were trying to save up for the transfer. It's still impacting the games.
They're still getting star players that they didn't have to farm themselves.
That's the purpose
And-
of the transfer market.
All right, well then what's the problem with doing that farm to farm?
Because the farm to farm is literally, and we can discuss on whether we feel that it's game breaking, but the farm to farm stuff is literally open to glitches and manipulation. You could literally create an infinite money loop on a team. You can't do that with the pro transfer.
Don was going to do that this season, but because he kept the lizards in there, he didn't go through with the theory that he was going to.
Let's
Gonna
do this.
try-
Let's do this really quick. Since we're getting into this discussion of a proposal, so let's stick to our protocol. Do we have we had the motion to immediately consider. We had a second. So that means we need to do a 2/3 vote to immediately consider it. Otherwise, this gets tabled, and we discuss next session.
And this long discussion preach is right. It supports the argument that we should flush this out further for a week. I don't have a
But
problem
your
with passing
definition of
something that
highly
there's nothing
contested
to-
is one person who feels very strongly
Okay,
about it.
so
I respect your
two-thirds-
opinion.
Two-thirds vote to continue discussion.
I vote to continue.
Me as well.
Me too.
Session?
I will say that this preach.
I
will say
think
this
that we need to get the general populace opinion. Not that we're necessarily going to follow it, but to help make sure that we have all of the different ideas thought out.
I'm with Seth. At the end of the day, we are here representing the whole of the league. And yes, Rez, I take your point about the playoffs thing, and you could argue that that's actually a bigger change to a league than stopping the transfers in the farm to farm. But I think to me, just going on what I feel, I think it feels like we should have a little engagement with the guys who play.
What'd you say, Jess?
Echo that same thing. I'm with Seston and Dunn on the consideration aspect.
I'm as well. I vote to push. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 pushers and 3 consider now. So it gets pushed to the next meeting. 10-12 shots is your assigned number.
Okay, thank you.
By the way, Preach, can I just take a small amount of time just to point out here that this is obviously highly contested, and we feel passionate about this because it is going to impact the league in a significant way. But again, I've known you guys now for about a year. All right, so it's okay for us to disagree passionately, and I don't want this to create. I don't want anybody that's listening to this to think that it's affecting our ability to get along.
No,
We're just trying to figure out what's right for the most amount of people.
Yeah, let's just discuss it in a respectful manner, and that's cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good.
So then I'm assuming we move on to a different topic.
Yep. So yes. Thanks for the proposal. If anybody who's tuning in and listening and has feedback, please share it with a board member. Share it with Shots. Share it with anybody else. Because we will be discussing it till we decide what we're going to do with it the next time we meet. So, which should be probably the first week of season 6. So not that long off. Does anybody else have a proposal?
I had the one that was pending that we never voted on. We had gotten it. We had already voted offline to do the chat to consider it out of session, but we just never actually voted or finished
That was for
discussion.
discussion.
Which one was that one?
It was the ones. So my proposal was that as long as coach actually, all right. So if we passed the proposal today, a coach who was in the MML as of the day that we passed the proposal and had a team in the PS4 champion ladder that's run by Cabal Vision, they could take that championship team, if they won the whole thing, they could take that championship team into the farm as the general exception that no non-MML teams are allowed into the MML. Again, as long as they didn't play any non-MML games after the championship game.
Yeah, I'm just making a note of it. Can't take temp team into.
What was the exact wording? Because I have read something about being able to enter the league at the pro cap. Or was that not part of the proposal?
No. You would come into the farm, and if you wanted to go into the CL via the current rules later on.
Yeah, you would have to follow whatever
Right.
the league the cap is for that at that time.
Basically, the
Right.
proposal is allowing a non-MML team, a non-new MML team to come into the MML. The exception being
Only
because
this one.
yeah, the exception being because this is the one team that won the champion ladder. Is that am I summing it up succinctly?
The Cabal Vision ladder, right?
Right.
The Cabal
Yeah.
Vision PS4 championship. Yeah, and not just the ladder. I mean, you have to win the playoffs, like
Okay.
the actual championship.
Yeah. You
And
gotta
this is a perpetual motion. So, like in season 2, if you win season 2, and that's an MML coach, that team would be as long as right after the championship, it didn't make non-MML transfers, it didn't play any non-MML games, it would come into the farm and then become a farm team subject to the rules of the farm and the MML.
All right. Discuss.
This is not a major it doesn't happen, whatever. Like that's how I ultimately feel about it. But I just thought it'd be a nice kind of feather in the cap. Somebody who, we have the top 3 slots. I think last time I looked, or we had the top 3. I don't know what it is now, but we have a front page has a lot of MML coaches on it. So theoretically, they could be champions. That would look good on the MML. I thought it would be cool to then allow that team to continue its career in the MML and actually have somebody be able to build a storyline around it and all that stuff. Not to mention, it would be kind of cool to see the unique fan factor skill that one of those players will win be floating around in the MML.
Anybody?
I'm against it. I think it creates a crease in the rules that basically opens us up to any time a team or or any other league champion decides that this is an important team, that they should get a chance to come in to the farm system and play whenever they want. I understand that the champion ladder is something that's very special, and we want to promote it and support it how we can, but it's still viewed by me as a separate league and in a separate universe that I don't want us to open up to the point of going, okay, well then any other league, if they define a champion there, that we need to consider that maybe that should be let in too. It's one of those where it muddies the water of a clear rule and purpose that we have now.
Yeah, I'm against it for very similar reasons. I don't think that the MML should have in it a single player that didn't start there.
My 2 cents. I really like the ladder, Champions Ladder. I think it's great that our coaches are in there and doing well. My concern with a lot of the stuff that is happening with the development of the league is around becoming a grind to win rather than having it as an accessible league for people who may not have as much time as other people. And whilst I really hope that everything goes well with the Champions Ladder, I'm against it for the fact that it's another league which is going to take more time. People who have the time to dedicate into playing X amount of games in that league, then all credit to them. Fantastic, get the benefits in that league. But I don't think we should bring it over to the MML.
My 2 cents is that everyone has teams that are special, of course. Championship ladder is something extra special, but if we give a team access to the MML from the Champions ladder, then I think we open the door for other teams that are special as well. I won the EFCL with an ex-farm team, and I didn't bring it back into the MML because it played games outside of the MML. Should that be allowed in then as well? I don't know. I'm against it.
I'm torn a little bit. I see what he said. I heard what he said. I see where he's going with it. I like that vision. Because at the end of the day, what's going to happen is if we don't do this, somebody else will, right? Somebody else is going to be listening to this, or they have the same idea, or they're going to do it, and they're going to claim the publicity that Just is suggesting that we can get from this. And it's not about publicity. It's exactly what he said. It's cool. It gives a little air of here we have somebody who went over here and did this and now is here. Somebody else is going to cash in on that. And maybe that's okay. So I'm torn a little bit from that aspect, but at the same time, I do echo the other sentiments, is that at what point do we draw the line? What makes this a little bit more than that, and what makes that a little bit more than something else down the road? I think it becomes a slippery slope once we let one in, to allow other things to happen, because because exceptions always make more exceptions. So
Well, I guess the difference here is that it's a PS or a Cyanide sponsored event, and there's going to be very few of them, right? There's just going to be one, I would guess, and that's the point of difference. I hadn't considered the
That is my thinking.
rates, and that is a concern.
My only other warning that I would say is that let's say that this special player does come into the league, and then within 2 weeks is fouled to death in the farm. The optics and the publicity of that could be bad.
That's
also
correct. That's my opposite concern. You're absolutely right, because we all know that player is not going to be handled delicately by anybody. It's going to have a target on its back, and it's going to take the one fool in the farm that's just going to foul because that's what they do. And then the very special team that we put the rule in place for is now the very special broken team. And, oh, yeah, by the way, don't be associated with those guys because that's what they do.
I've made it no secret. I've been playing a lot on the Clatter. I like the concept behind it, but I'd say probably my biggest concern, and it kind of ties in with one of my main things, is the way the rankings are set up right now rewards the amount of games that you play, and it basically gives an advantage, as London was kind of getting at, that if you can play more games, it favors you. It's weighted in your favor. So I would be against it for now, with the caveat that if the rankings were changed, I don't know what the right answer is, but that I would reconsider in the future.
Let me ask this of you all. The proposal is to let that team in. What if the proposal was just to let the fan favorite player in? Would that change anybody's mind?
Not mine.
I think it still holds a lot of the same negatives. The positives are, without the entire team coming in, it's less danger of outside players, but it's still my bigger concern is having that player, that unicorn in the league. It can't be protected, and all the positive publicity could turn negative publicity, that kind of a thing.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from, Shots, but I don't think that's going to be a major problem. I think once the publicity dies down, once they transfer over, right, no one's going to really track them much afterwards, I don't think.
Let me ask this. Really, sorry to interrupt, Thundon, but
yeah,
other than Donegal, because I know he knows the answer, but who knows who won the PC championship? Can you tell me the name? Can you tell me the name of that guy?
No.
I don't know his name. I remember the team. Yeah, it's Guinness. I recognize it. Yeah, it's the guy that I know his backstory. Dude drinks whiskey while he plays. It was a lizard team.
You mean an original concept? Oh, that's interesting, isn't it?
He played the
He
Belgian in the
drinks a
final.
lot
Malik.
of whiskey. A lot of whiskey while he plays. Bro.
So half of us know that, right? And that's on the PC side. The reason I bring that up is whoever wins the Clatter this time around, how do I say this? How quickly do we forget who they are?
And also keep in mind that the championship ladder is not the same as the World Cup.
Correct.
Exactly.
It's completely
There's not
different
35,000 on the
Correct.
line there.
Furthermore, if it is one of our own, right? If it is one of our own, we're all going to know about it anyway, right?
Oh, if I pull it off somehow,
Yeah, heaven
you'll
heaven forbid it's res.
Oh
Because
God, yeah, we'll never hear the end of it. Now.
Well, I will say this as somebody, and I know pretty much now through the C ladder, I've gotten to know a lot of coaches. I've recruited a couple of them to the MML. Those of us who play in the C ladder regularly, I think Rez will agree with me here, and probably Dom too. Like, we're aware of the top players in the playoff bracket, and we're aware, most of them, like what leagues that they may play in. So, especially, by the way, if they have a team that has like the hashtag or the title of their league, ingrained into their
Yeah, I think the tag on the team, or like my team has it in the team motto, to check out the website. I think that's the best advertising, more so than bringing the team or the player in, though. Just be sitting at the top of the ladder. And again, the rankings are very games played rewarding right now. So I'm not sitting here like, oh, I'm amazing, but I'm sitting there up with Dim for the two top Wood Elf spots, and I'm sure there's a lot of coaches who look at those two teams and they say, oh, there are two leagues tied to these teams. Maybe I should check them out.
I want to clarify that one point
the...
right now. There's just one point I want to clarify. We keep saying that they're very grind related. Yes, grinding does factor in, but just to clarify, the grinding, there's a point at which the grinding kind of becomes irrelevant. It was built that way. Unfortunately, now I think that the number may be a little high because the season ended up being cut short, and we've actually lessened the weight of the grinding for season 2. So you're going to start to see, if somebody plays 29 games over the course of a 6-week season, which is less than one game a day, right? Significantly less than one game a day. You're going to see that after 29, there is a sharp diminishing return to getting an extra win versus what you could lose by losing.
Well, and that's
Justy, just to me, anything outside the MML is a grind. It doesn't really matter how much. If we're talking 20 plus games, it's a grind.
Yeah, but just to put it in perspective, it's not like we're not talking about the difference between an 80-game winner and or somebody who's played 80 games and has like a 300 record.
I would like to refocus
you.
this back on what we're talking about here.
Thank you.
We're talking about the MML. We're not talking about the cladder or the team or how they get there.
Somebody's making the argument about grinding, so that's all I'm saying.
Well, no, that was just a statement. It wasn't anything about the rule. It was a concern. No.
There's a concern about.
I have a concern that actually relates to the MML about this one. And my concern is that we're getting a corsage, we're getting the tux, we're getting everything ready for the prom. There's no guarantee that this team even wants anything to do with us. They may already have a different league that they want to take their team to. We could be left at the altar in theory because we're so, prepared for this. I mean, there's nothing saying that a team has to come here. And it's nothing saying that we have to even entertain a rule to do that at this point until afterwards. I mean, no one's won it yet. No one's even shown interest in bringing the team in here that I've heard of. I think that many of the coaches that are already in the league would be happy to, request or make actions later if that was to happen. But at this point, we're doing a lot of talking about something that isn't even necessarily going to happen.
And there are competitions available to that team to enter that are, that allow teams from all over the place to aggregate. So it's not like you're leaving the team forever and they just are done.
But you think it'd be more fair to wait until somebody wins and then we know who it is and then we let that potentially affect the decision?
Well, I mean,
you can say that it won't affect your decision, but it's
But let's bypass that because we already have a proposal on the table to discuss, which is what we're discussing now. So we're already past that. I mean, it's a good point that Shot's made. It's so on and so forth, but we're already here. So let's make a determination about here and move on. For good.
And one last opinion on my end is the concern about the slippery slope. I mean, we can just cut that concern. Now, I personally would not be in favor of extending it beyond the Cabal Vision official event. To me, another league, like, somebody mentioned GFCL. GFCL is another private league. That's not, I mean, why would we ever do that? That's not even in the same realm of reasoning. This would be an exception clearly cut out for the official PlayStation playoff ladder, which although there's no World Cup and there hasn't been shown any intent by Cabal Vision or Cyanide to ever create a World Cup for PS4. This is what we have. This is our PlayStation Championship.
Well, let me say
This
this.
is where all the leagues bring their team, send their coaches and put them all at
Just
each other.
because it's official doesn't mean it's better.
I didn't say that.
I know.
But
I just want to. I think when people say official, I'm not. It's not germane to the conversation. Any other discussion around this one?
I still stand by the idea that they're another universe. Let's keep them another universe.
Yeah, and I had. If we vote this proposal in, then we have to make sure that it's for all the teams that ever win the championship ladder. And as it stands now, that might mean a new team every 2 months if MML, of course, always wins the championship ladder. And we will, of course, win the championship ladder every 2 months. So it's a lot of teams in the long run.
Doesn't necessarily need to be MML. If we've offered it before, then someone who's not from the MML may, could rightly say, well, can I join you guys?
No,
And then,
the proposal says an MML coach.
Yeah, they have to be registered MML already.
Well, then I question why it's not open to everyone. I mean, there's if we're letting an outside team in, what makes it to the point where we shouldn't let the outside coach in? I mean, we're a welcoming group. If it's making an exception for another league and another team, why would we stop at that point and not allow just whoever wins? I mean, it's
Just let that team into the farm, no matter who has it.
Well, I mean, that could be a solution that you guys are welcome to start a new proposal if this passes to amend to that. That'd be fine. That's not prohibited by the rules. This is just where it stands right now. Right now we have nothing. We have no avenue. So this is allowing MML coaches who represented the MML in the C ladder to get that team into the MML. But again, if you want to expand it later on, that'd be a proposal.
I don't think it was necessarily a suggestion for expansion, just asking for the reasoning for. No, I think it was more just kind of going into the reasoning.
Any other discussion on this?
I have no further discussion.
No, nothing.
No.
All right. Motion to vote.
I'll motion to vote.
I'll second. We will work backwards this time. DD is not here.
He was for it. Oh no, sorry. That was another proposal.
Rez, pass, no pass.
No pass.
Hez is not here. Donnie?
Yeah, no pass.
Just?
Pass.
Seston?
No pass.
Shots?
No pass.
Thunden?
no pass.
And Preach is also a no pass. That is a no pass.
I would like to say thank you, Jest, for bringing this up because it was actually a pretty neat and fun idea for us to think about.
Yeah,
And it's definitely something I'd want to revisit later, possibly.
So, but my thing is if I would definitely entertain it, with more attention and
It'd be nice to
harder
see
find
how the
something.
Clatter plays out for maybe a couple of seasons too. You know what I mean? Just to let it settle in.
I think I would always be against it, but I do think that it was something that should have been brought forward and was really neat and fun for us to dream about.
Agreed.
Yeah, no hard feelings. Thanks for the time and considering it, and I do understand why you would say no.
Cheers, Jesse.
Good proposal though. I like thinking outside the box on that. So.
All right. Does any other proposals via members?
9.
No.
I propose that in Caven's next match, we make the Goblin referee. No.
We're live.
No, that can't.
Oh, okay, we can't do that. Never mind.
That's for the closed door.
Yeah, closed session. Okay, so we do have a submission from one of our coaches. So this one is a little bit stale, but we haven't had, not stale, I should say. It was submitted right after our last
Would
board.
be dismissive of the poor chap.
Well, I mean, I meant that the proposal was latent. Like it's our fault. We haven't got to it. So I'm just going to read it. We've discussed it somewhat, but I'll read it. So, proposed to the addendum of Rule Section 1.2.3 for coach incentives. Now, this came out before our proposal to redesign the bonus TV, i.e. the coach incentives. But this may add another incentive to it. Basically, it says this. Any coach who announces 3 or more games during a season to include postseason or bowl games shall be granted bonus 10 bonus TV for the next season. Then he goes on to to give some reasoning. Basically, the proposal is we're incentivizing those people to announce. Is the proposal?
Announcing is its own incentive.
Well, okay,
Yeah.
But
but
I
do we
kind
have
of like that awarding them.
do we have anybody who wants to sponsor this? This was submitted by
I'll
Stuff
sponsor
it. I'll sponsor that.
was Stuff and Junk.
Yep, I'll sponsor it. I don't know. Happy to.
Is it bonus TV on top of the cap or inside the cap?
Inside
Up to
the
the
cap.
maximum of 150, yeah? Yeah.
100 now,
100 now.
100.
Sorry,
100.
Now, Grant, remember, this was written prior to our revision of the bonus team value, so he did not know about that. So we would have to talk to him about it. But from his explanation, it would be within the cap.
I like it. It can give new players some extra bonus TV.
Any
for,
motion to immediately consider, or you guys want to think about it?
Yeah, I'll motion
Well,
to
I
consider
think
immediately.
there's not a lot to consider, so yeah, let's go for it.
Okay. Any objection to immediately consider? Let's do that.
I'd like to hear from the people a little bit more on this one.
I'm always up for considering.
It's one of those where I don't think any of us have had a lot of time to think about it and that, and I'd just like to, on my side, I'd like to roll it around in my head and really
I
Figure
guess
out
there's
how
the
to get
concern
off my
about.
lawn.
I guess there's the concern about people who aren't as extrovert as some of us might be, who just don't want to, and
Or
then
just
they
time.
feel like, hey, well, I'm just
Yeah.
here to play the game. Why have I got to kind of like get involved and announce games now to keep competitive? Would be one.
Oh,
I
I
like
guess
the
that's true.
idea of rewarding it, but I just don't think that bonus TV is something that I want to.
The fact that it's
handing out
only
for it.
10 it sways me a
minimal.
little more. Yeah, that sways me a little
Yeah.
more to being okay with it. But again, I mean, I've seen plenty of guys say in the chat, "Oh man, if I had more time, I would love to try announcing."
Okay, let's do this. Let's we'll table it since I am also for moving it. Well, I guess that would be 2/3. I guess if it's just me and shots, we immediately discuss it.
I'm on the. Can you just? You would get 10 BTV if you announce one time during
If you
the season.
three or more during a
three
season.
games.
3 or more.
What was the postseason game part though?
For regular, it included
Oh,
postseason.
including. Okay,
Yep.
okay.
All right. So, well, let me ask you this question. Right, season 6 hasn't started, and our next board meeting will be after it has already started.
Yep.
Does it become unfair then if we wait, get people's opinion on it, and then pass it like 1 week? Our first meeting would be 1 weekend, right? So 1 week into season 6. Is that too much of a problem? Like, is there an urgency to consider it now?
I don't think there's an urgency.
Is somebody packing indoor wrapping things in tape?
Sounded like Jest was in a war zone
Yeah,
earlier.
like duct tape. Or are we duct taping?
I was actually picking
Mrs.
up.
Thunder
food earlier
likes
than
it.
Randy.
You leave it alone.
Silencing the competitors.
Oh my.
All right. Let me ask those of you who want to wait. Are you against it? I want to gauge whether it's controversial or not. Like,
I'm against handing out the bonus TV for something that isn't realistic to expect everyone to do.
As am I.
I think that it's a great idea. I think that people that step up and announce should get something, but I don't know if handing out bonus TV is fair to everyone. I know that 10 bonus TV doesn't seem like much, but I know that a lot of the guys coming into the Challenge League, a lot of the new coaches, they're just coming in. They haven't had opportunity. They may not have even seen 3 pro games. They
10
may
TV
have seen one and came in, and
you
it
can
makes
take
a
that
difference.
strength up or not. You know what I mean? When you're skilling your team up. Not saying that. Yeah, I agree that 10 doesn't seem like that much, but I've personally run into situations with the TV cap in preparations where it's like, oh, I can't take this skill up unless I had 10 more TV, and it's, I mean,
Yeah,
with
no,
the
this is
100 cap.
I agree with. I think 10 BTV is significant. This could significantly impact things, and we just finished trimming BTV, and now we're going to start adding to it. Let's wait. Let's
My question
consider
is, do we still have the recruiter coach TV in or not? Is that in still or not?
No,
I
gone
think that's gone, right?
gone.
That's
Yeah,
pulled, yeah?
that's fine.
as of season 6? Like it's
Yeah,
still
yeah,
right,
that's-
yeah.
that's-
Yep.
you can still use it coming. Yeah.
Yeah, all
So
the
yeah,
all the old rules
I'm
still
for
apply.
waiting. I don't want to consider this now. I don't wait a week.
Okay, let me make it simple. I want to wait as well. I'm changing my opinion because I don't have any time anymore today. I have to go, so I can't be part of the discussion if it happens.
Why do you have to go, Shorts? Dom?
I have my
cheating on us, are you?
I
You
have
are
my UK
cheating on us.
BBL game.
Oh man, good luck, Don.
Yeah, thanks. Wood Elves
Good luck.
versus Undead.
And you're the Wood Elves or you're the Undead?
Wood Elves.
Darn right. There you go, Don.
AV7 Master Race. You've probably got, you've got
No,
the
no, no.
unfair
Don't
advantage
you
there,
lump
Dom,
the
so
Wood
there you
Elves
go.
with those Norse and those rats. It's Wood Elf Master Race, okay?
All right, so we will consider that next session.
I'll send you some free soap so that you smell all nice for your match with the undead.
No, don't do that, because then the Deddies will be able to get a hold of you. You need
No,
to be
but
slick
I-
and
I
nasty.
have my anti-mummy repellent on, so...
Okay. Sap.
Okay, see you later, guys.
See you, buddy.
Take
Cheers,
care,
Dom.
Don.
Good luck, man.
Later.
So that's all the submissions we have from the general public. Do we have any other submissions that anybody's aware of that I was not?
No.
No. Unfinished business, miscellaneous business. Do we have any?
I like Lou's suggestion of banning all participation in other leagues while Don's gone.
Yeah.
Oh, for board members. Only for us.
Yeah, I agree.
Second.
You guys can get out of this stupid official league.
That doesn't even count. It's just a...
We're more
it's just a
official
little
than the
flatter.
official league.
I agree. We're much
Stop
more
gi-
organized
yeah.
as far
Stop
as games.
Stop giving them credit.
Poor jest.
I'm like whatever.
I think by my 35 games played in the Clatter, I've shown that I like it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of anything that builds profile. On
I saw the
game.
concede
That's
rates
all.
way lower.
Yeah, it's like 20 something, isn't it?
Yeah, that was impressive.
Sorry. Anyway, MML.
Yes. Only MML. Harumph.
All right, so any other business? None?
Go Steelers.
Go, oh my goodness.
Go what? National Fairies League. You know?
Nice.
Thought you liked girls.
Oh, listen to
You
this.
thought wrong, boy.
Yeah.
Did you just assume my sexuality?
I did. I didn't assume. You told me what it was.
That was just locker room talk.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Oh,
Oh
my.
my. It's going off the rails already.
Grab 'em in the killie.
Okay, so next session would be, the first week of season 6. We don't really know when that is because we don't know when the final game is. Hopefully that's this week. If not, next weekend. Then it would be the following
Second
Monday.
semifinal's the one on today. That's the second one, correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
this
Yeah.
will decide the
So
final.
there'll only be one more match after.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yeah, but who knows when they can get together, pending
Yeah,
on
exactly.
pending on who wins this match. Go Orcs. So,
Wood Elf final.
Hashtag one tribe.
right.
All Wood Elf final.
Hashtag Goblin Referee.
You better bring some nose plugs with you to the finals. That's all I'm saying.
Let's just hope everyone clicks through the end animations if it goes to extra time.
Okay, so we will coordinate the first week of season 6. I motion to close the meeting.
Seconded.
Sucker nerd.
For all those tuning in, thanks for tuning in. We're now going to have a closed session where we talk about the real business.
Bye.